Hello and welcome to On Point. I'm Ashley Goossen. Bullying is becoming more frequent among children and teens on and off school campuses. This, according to the National Education Association. Even with new standards and programs put into place by the government and schools, bullying remains a national problem for both children and young adults. Bullying can take a number of forms, ranging from the more traditional physical and verbal bullying to cyberbullying. Harassment in schools influences many parents to make the decision to homeschool their children. In fact, the NEA estimates that 160,000 children miss school every day due to fear of attack or intimidation by other students. On Point Samantha Benitz has more.
Thank you, Ashley. I'd like to welcome my guests, Joey Dolowy, a marriage and family therapist, and Hanna, Kytlica, a senior at St. Genevieve High School. So to start, I'd like to ask you both, what is a bully and how do we define one? And I'll start with you, Joey.
Oh, there's a long definition of that, but basically I define a bully as a predator who looks for weaker prey, somebody lower on the social hierarchy that's not going to be a challenge, that they can mock, put down, physically intimidate in one way or another. And I say that they're a predator because there's a plan and an execution, because they rarely will execute bullying right in front of a teacher or someone of authority. So there's a process to it. So it's very predatory.
Okay, and how about you, Hanna?
It's hard to top. I would say like someone who has like the power, like from wherever source they're getting it from, whether it's because they're like more popular or they have more money or they have like connections or whatever. Someone that has power that decides to pick on vulnerable people.
Okay, and what makes someone want to be a bully? Joey?
That one I have no deep insight. I haven't had any patients who've shared with me that they were bullies. But from what I've gathered from some reading, there's a maintenance of status within the hierarchy of their peer group for some people to be reinforced to bully others. It's somebody high above, so it's the hierarchy and stepping on the people beneath them such that they can maintain their status.
And Hanna, for you?
I think it's like to make them in a way like feel powerful, to feel better about themselves for whatever reason. Like, I'm not sure why like people would bully someone. Like, that still doesn't make sense to me, why someone can get enjoyment out of making other people miserable and feel terrible about themselves, whether it's emotionally or physically, whether they hurt them. It's not, like, for me, it's not okay. So I don't know exactly like where it comes from and how someone is, like why they bully someone, but I would say it's like for some sort of like sick satisfaction.
And Joey, do you feel that the problem of bullying has gotten worse over the years? If so, how?
That's a more complicated question. I think that the awareness of bullying and how it affects people is starting to grow. So with more awareness, there's more people to try and minimize or stop it or defend it. The part that makes it more insidious for both of your generation is the internet and social networking, because now bullying can go to a worldwide audience instantaneously, and someone can do it from the comfort of their home and try and hide their identity much more easily. So in that aspect, I feel, and my vocation has grown with more patients coming in experiencing that type of just horribly detrimental experience.
Okay, and I have a question for both of you. I'll start with Hanna. Do you feel people are too sensitive to being bullied, or are they not talking about it as it's a serious problem?
I think it is a serious problem. I just feel like when you're bullied, it's hard to reach out and get help for it. And so it's a serious issue to the people that are bullied, but it becomes a serious issue when you share it with others.
And for you, Joey?
Can you repeat the question?
Of course.
I got engrossed in the answer. I'm like, where are we going?
Do you feel people are too sensitive to being bullied, or it's not being taken seriously enough?
I don't think it's being addressed seriously enough. I don't think it's being defined accurately, and I don't think that the people being bullied are speaking out loud enough, clear enough, or frequently enough to really affect a change.
Okay. And so we have interviewed some students at Arleta High School who have been bullied, and they're in the Upstanders program, and here are some of their experiences.
I was always, well, I'm colored, so I would get picked on for that, and I was smaller than everyone else, so I couldn't really do anything about it. And so I would just get bullied for stuff like that and get called racist names.
When I was younger, around 4th grade, I actually helped this kid who was being bullied, and I knew these kids who were bullying him, and I was like, with my friends, and I was like, aren't you guys gonna say anything? And then they really just like laughed at me as I walked over to help this kid.
I had a best friend, and while she's like, we were really close, like I knew her parents, she knew my parents, we were like good with each other's family, and like out of nowhere, we just stopped talking, and she just like started calling me names, started calling me like I was always seeking attention.
I had a friend, well, who we were friends at the time, but she just out of the blue started sending me messages in 5th grade. She would criticize me, and then once I started fighting back, she showed my friends the messages of when I fought back, not everything before it. So my friends thought I was picking on her.
In elementary school, I was bullied because I didn't know how to speak English as opposed to everybody else. And I was basically a loner. I was excluded from most of the activities and all the kids. And in middle school, it was more cyberbullying through Facebook that I had a best friend who decided to not be my best friend anymore. And she started spreading rumors about me.
Okay, so Hanna, seeing that video, can you relate with these stories?
I think I can, because it's like when I was in elementary, like so many of the students, I feel like it's more of like the younger crowd that like, and it's also in high school too, most definitely, and in life. But for me, it was in elementary school when this one girl specifically, she decided that she could do what she wanted because her mother had worked at the school, all of the staff had babysat her, the coaches on the cheer team had babysat her as well and taken care of her ever since she was a little child. And she felt like she had this power over me, and like I went to school with her for 9 years, and in the beginning it wasn't so prominent that like she would pick on me, but as we got towards like around middle school, it's when we both like decided to be on the cheer team together that she decided like, oh, she's a threat, I guess, or I don't even know why she bullied me, to be honest, but she just decided to start picking on me and making like remarks at me and like put me down all the time and make my life miserable for whatever reason.
And Joey, are stories like Hanna's, you know, typical, or is this a rare case, or how would you?
Seems fairly typical. Everything on those snippets, fairly typical. I can come to you with personal experience. I believe my bullying was due to my stature. I was tiny. I didn't break 5 feet tall until I was almost 17. Didn't break 100 pounds until I was 17. So elementary school all the way through high school, I was bullied, mocked, pushed, pulled, knocked down because of my size. So all of those things. And now with the internet, many of my patients are coming in, particularly Facebook and more recently Instagram, are being used to manipulate and create false opinions about people.
And for Hanna, how did bullying change from elementary to middle school and now to your high school?
From elementary, it was kind of like, oh, someone's being mean to me, so you tell obviously you tell somebody about it, and so that's what I would do. I would tell like the yard staff and like tell them like if you could ask this person to leave me alone because for whatever reason they're being mean. And I think it all started kind of there with the staff at my school for my personal experience, because they would make me play with the bully. They would force us to be together and play with each other for the rest of the recess. And if we didn't play with each other, we would get in trouble for it, which made no sense to me at all, and still to this day boggles my mind. And in middle school, it started getting more serious where this, like, a different girl, it was mainly her, and it manifested with her and spread out to other people who, like, were friends with her and, like, talked to her. And that's when it started getting mean. Like, she would just say, like, really mean comments and, like, make the whole class laugh at me, or she hurt herself and decided to become anorexic after a comment I made because I have back pain and back issues. And in cheerleading, I always had to base her because I'm very strong with my upper body. So I would always be forced to be underneath her, which is a little ironic. And I told her that I can't lift you anymore because my back is hurting, and I'm in 7th and 8th grade. That's not normal. You shouldn't be having back pain. So I needed to lift, like, smaller flyers, and she was given maybe as tall as me. And she decided to become anorexic, and the school and the staff had blamed it on me and called my parents into the principal's office saying, your daughter, she's spreading rumors about her, and all these different accusations, when I told one of my best friends, who then my school had singled out. They had called my best friend's parents in to talk to her about if I'm spreading rumors about my bully being anorexic. And I, of course, like, you would naturally tell your best friend, like, what's going on, like, open up to somebody. And then the parents confirmed that I had said something, and then they called in my parents and said that I'm gossiping about my bully and spreading false rumors and basically making the accusation that I'm bullying her, when in reality, she's bullying me and they're covering it up. And that's pretty general of how middle school was. And in high school, I really I chose a high school where there's a zero tolerance policy for bullying. And, like, if someone's mean to you, like, it's not a big deal. It's not like someone's gonna punch you in the face or put your head in the toilet or call you mean names. It's nothing of that sort. Like, none of the bullying that I experienced as, like, younger and as a child is brought into my high school. So I think that's really positive for me, and that's where I was able to grow. If I wouldn't have had that experience, I would be still really shy and, like, to myself and scared of everyone else. So, yeah.
So for Joey, have you noticed that boys are more physically bullied and girls are more mentally bullied?
I think girls are more emotionally bullied, and boys generally, at least thus far in my professional experience, do things more physically. Can I address a couple things here? Because when you were describing how, the only word that comes up, and it's poor choice, but it's loaded, but it was almost a coven creating the blame to force a mirror back on you. So they were, oh, well, she said something, but they didn't really explore to find the truth. It was more of, okay, you said something, we can twist that and then foist all the blame on you, the innocent party. And for my generation, when I was in elementary school, because I was bullied, that's where I fought back. I got in lots of fist fights, even though I was a tiny little, I was the second smallest kid in the school. Lots of fist fights, lots of bloody noses, horrible. Junior high, I tried to change. I went to a different junior high, different location, so I tried to laugh with them, but then it's everyone putting their elbow on me, and I'm actually still claustrophobic because I was locked in a locker, and then I fit in this tiny, the worst. So, you know, I understand those changes, and in 4th grade is when I learned a horribly poignant lesson, is when something happened with one of the older kids, and the teacher told the entire class, if anyone gets bullied, if anybody gets, and they used a big word, harassed, that we didn't know what it meant yet.
Of course.
But I remember that, the 4th grade, harassed. Oh my God, it's got the word, ooh, can I say ass in it? Because it was all exciting. Oh, for being a boy, that was exciting. So literally 10 days later, I got bullied, and I went and told the teacher, but it was one of the more popular children that bullied me. I was told, nobody likes a tattletale. And then I said, yeah, but, and she said, no, yeah, but. Like, you told us no one likes a tattletale.
Yeah.
All right, I learned. I am functionally impotent. I am powerless. I'm worthless. They have the power, and I have no chance.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I noticed. Like, the administration does nothing to enforce no bullying at a school. Like, they, by ignoring it and trying to push it aside, like pretending it's not there, it grows and it manifests into something that, like, for one student, like, it's unimaginable. Like, you don't feel like you can do anything about it. And it's only up to the individual to be able to do something about it. And I feel like that's when, like, being able to reach out to my mom and having someone to talk to, like, even though it was hard, like, I would come home crying, like, Mom, please don't take me to school. Like, I don't want to go to school. Like, I don't want to go back there. And, like, in the mornings, I would wait till, like, the bell already rang so everyone could go in the building, so I wouldn't have to go to school, and then I would leave right away if I could. Or if I had cheer practice, I would, like, kind of dread it, but like, cheering was something I really enjoyed and I really loved. But the one girl that was on the team there just made it so bad for me. Like, my 8th grade year, I was like, you know what? Cheer isn't as important as being not bullied. So I'd rather choose to not go to competitions with you and not having to deal with my coaches than being bullied and told what to do. And, like, it all just revolves around, like, what you do about being bullied. Like, the administration, in my days, like, forget it. They're not gonna do anything. In any case, they're gonna make it worse for you, and that's what they did for me. And they never addressed it, they never fixed it, nothing. But it was me talking to somebody and, like, finding someone that I can relate to. And, like, my mom, she's, like, told me stories about, like, when she was a child and, like, how it was hard for her to grow up because she was different and she was skinny and she had glasses. And before, that was, like, a dorky kid, like, like, the popular kids aren't gonna have glasses and be super skinny and super tall, taller than all the boys in her entire class. Like, it's unheard of, right? So I think, like, being able to have my mom to talk to and, like, to relate with her and her sharing her experiences with me, like, made me think about it. Like, it's not my fault that that's happening. It's not my fault that, like, I'm being bullied and that the administration won't help me. Like, why won't they help me? Well, I have my mom to help me. I have one person that I can confide in to back me up and be my support system. And, like, that's what made me be able to bear being bullied. And, like, that's what made me be strong and, like, learn how to stand up for myself, because I was able to talk to my mom about it. And she was able to give me, like, words of wisdom and help me, like, realize you're not ugly, you're not fat, you're not here for people to make fun of you for their own enjoyment, and you have to take it and be quiet and not say anything and cry by yourself in your room. No, you're here because you're beautiful, you're strong, you're talented, and whatever they say doesn't matter because that's their problem. They can say what they want, but that doesn't affect you.
Let me jump in on two things. Not only are you beautiful, you're smart, you're well-spoken, you're doing great. And I want to say one thing, because the one thing that I heard in there that was hugely significant is you liked cheer and you had to give up cheer because of the bullying. Yeah. So not only are they tearing you down, they're taking things away from you.
Yeah, but by that time, like, by 8th grade, I've been, like, I was able to talk to my mom for a while, and I grew to the point where, like, it didn't hurt me. Like, I let it kind of push me forward, because I knew, like, in high school I wanted to do cheer. And my freshman year in high school, like, before I started high school, we had tryouts for cheer, and I worked so hard. I remember I practiced the dance for, like, 7 hours in my room, and I got the varsity dance down. I was the first freshman to ever make varsity cheer at my school.
High five.
I showed them.
So, Hanna, do you feel that a lot of students or kids don't say anything out of fear of embarrassment or the repercussions of what will happen if they do speak up?
I think nowadays it's very scary to find someone to confide in, because you don't necessarily know what they're going to say. Like, not all parents would be supportive of their child. Some parents might be like, oh yeah, suck it up, take care of yourself. Or you figure it out for yourself. Don't be a tattletale, you know? Like, that's a big issue for, like, not all parents are gonna be like my mom who's there. But there's always somebody to be there, like a teacher, a friend, a counselor. But it's up to the person to be able to talk to somebody. And I think that's where, like, also, like, knowing who to surround yourself with in your life is very important. Because that's where you find out, like, maybe it's okay to talk to them. Maybe I'm not scared because I feel like they won't judge me. I feel like this is a good place. Maybe it's just one person, you know? But it's just one person that you need to make you strong and make you not afraid to talk about it and not be scared. So.
Absolutely. So with Joey, have you noticed with kids, is there a misconception that a person should hit back after being hit first, or does that just reinforce bad behavior?
Unfortunately, with confronting some bullies, there is a point where, contrary to what my profession preaches, sometimes you got to fight back. Otherwise, they're going to keep coming and keep coming. Particularly, I've had a few in the past where they've gone to the administration verbally. The parents have gone to the administration and nothing's happened. I've actually worked with a few. I'm a black belt in Taekwondo and Hapkido, and I've shown a few how to use a knee, particularly if it's a boy. Just a quick knee to the groin, and that'll stop them. It's a horribly blunt and imperfect response, and usually there's a number of steps that I try and work through therapeutically before getting there. Yet sometimes that's the only way to handle it.
Yeah, I have to agree. I'm just gonna like pop in.
Jump in. Here we go.
Like, for me, I remember the first time I stood up to my bully, and it was such a small gesture that I made, but I remember we were in class and our history teacher had told her specifically to pass out the worksheets for the entire class. And she got to our table, which was surrounded with her friends, but we were all on the cheer team and I didn't really have many friends. So I just sat with them and I never really talked to them, but I was just there. And then she comes to our table and then she hands the stack to me and I touch it, I grab one and like I hand it back to her. And then she throws it on the table and she goes, "Ew, nobody touched this. Hanna touched this. She's like, what did she say? She has germs. She's diseased."
Older version of cooties.
You know, like cooties. But it was like, she thought she was so funny. And then everyone started laughing at me and pointing. And everyone was like, "Oh, I don't want to touch it. I'm going to get infected." That it doesn't have to always be physical. It can just be like one word. Just telling your bully like, "Really? That's enough. You're not allowed to be mean to me right now. If you're going to be mean to me, do it in a mature way. Don't be immature and talk to your little friends. Be a person. Stand up for yourself."
Absolutely. And Joey, do you think that most people like Hanna should walk away to combat bullying?
Initially, walking away without a response doesn't feed their need for a response. Mm-hmm. It's almost presenting a blank facade such that there's nothing to motivate them.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they usually have a peer group surrounding them who will facilitate egging them on. So it's walking away, trying to cultivate or create something so you have proof to go to an administrator. So it's walking away, trying to get proof or get somebody to monitor the situation more closely, because the teacher doesn't have to be right there, but if they're close enough by, then the people are more worried or cognizant of their presence. They won't feel comfortable attacking.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, Hanna, what do you feel you have learned from the experience of being bullied?
I have learned to be who I am. It's such a scary thing, like opening up and being who you are. And it didn't happen right away. Like after 8th grade and I went to high school, it took me probably all the way to my senior year now to be able to say like, I'm proud of who I am, I love who I am, I don't care what other people say about me. If they're gonna talk about me, so what? Like that's their problem. They can have fun spending all their time talking about me, that's great, you know, but I'm gonna live my life and I'm gonna be who I am. And I learned that like, it made me such a strong person because I know what I deserve and I know like if I don't have friends, it's okay. I'm not gonna sit by myself and feel sad about it. I'm gonna sit by myself and feel confident that I love who I am and I'm not afraid to sit by myself. Like that's such a scary thing. Like you hear like these students that get bullied, they sit by themselves, like mean girls. in the movie, like she sits by herself in the stall in the bathroom because she's afraid to sit by herself in front of everyone else. And for me, if I don't find anyone that I'm willing to talk to, I'll sit by myself on the couch in the cafe and just listen to music, go on Instagram. But it's like because I'm comfortable with who I am. And I feel like that's one of the most important parts of like growing up is learning who you are and being okay with it. And like you can be so weird. Like I'm such a weird person. I'm not normal. I do the weirdest things sometimes and my mom will vouch for me, promise. But like I'm not afraid to like do that and like go out there out of my way. And like it made me outgoing, but it doesn't always have to. Like it just makes you who you are. And because of like such positive surroundings and the people that I surrounded myself with and learned that like I don't have to talk to these people. They don't have to be my friend if they're going to be mean to me. So I just learned to love myself and be who I am and not care what other people say, even if it's hurtful.
Well, thank you so much, Hanna and Joey, for being here with us today on Point.
Pretty much a good day for me would be people leaving their hands off of me. I'm always called names. Everywhere that I go, there's always someone calling me names, calling me gay. I've been choked, thrown up against a wall, punched. Nobody's ever tried to help me.
Come on, let's go.
Just a minute, I gotta finish this.
Wait, you're gonna post those pictures of Mary?
Yep. She thinks she's so hot.
But her mom and dad will see them. Her grandmother, her little sister, everyone she knows, it's gonna kill her.
Who cares? Just a couple of pictures. It's no big deal.
No big deal? Don't. This has gotta stop.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Don't worry. The 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play more. To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
If you or somebody that you know is being bullied, you can contact the cyberbully hotline at 1-800-420-1479. Thank you for tuning in to On Point. If you would like to see more, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter at CSUN On Point. On Sunday mornings, you can tune into KCSN 88.5 at 5:30, or you can watch the show on channel LA 36 at 11:30. For all of us here at On Point, I'm Ashley Goossen.